episode 423 of In Touch with iOS, the podcast that keeps you connected to the ever-changing Apple ecosystem. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. Each week, we break down the latest news and updates, tips, and hidden features across iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac, Vision Pro, and Apple TV, all with insights from the friends, experts, and the Apple community, because here we read the release notes so you don't have to. So we've got a great panel this week. I'm so glad everybody is here, and we're going to start off with Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty? Thanks for being here.
Good. I am catching up on my sleep. We have this week off break between spring semester and summer classes. My son got married last weekend, and I am just about back to 100%, but I got in 3 2-hour naps today.
Wow.
That
Nice.
sounds excessive.
Sounds glorious.
Wow. It probably
really
nice.
does.
It's really nice. Guy Serle, you're here. How you doing, Guy? I appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. It is so good to be here. You just keep opening the door for me, don't you?
I do, but I guess that's okay.
Don't forget, you were on the G-Men podcast last week.
I was. That was fun.
Which came out yesterday, Wednesday.
All right. So, Eric Bolden, you are here. I thought we had like maybe a COVID type of situation behind you there. How you doing?
No, I thought this week I would go with an allium, before the explosion on the allium Death Star. That's a whole separate story, though.
That's right.
So or something.
Yeah. Jeff Gamet, you are here. How you doing, Jeff? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing all right, and I'm sorry I don't have any Death Stars or yeah, but hey, I'm here, and but look, I've got interesting sculptures. So
yeah, you do. I've seen them in person.
Oh, you have?
That's right.
Nice.
And last but certainly not least, Chuck Joyner made it. How you doing, Chuck? Thanks for being here.
Hey, I'm good, Dave. I'm glad we got off the ground.
Yes, we did. So let's just dive in here and get started with. There was a lot of stuff going on with Apple this week. All the final versions of 26.5 came out. So let's start with Vision Pro. Vision Pro in Vision Pro 26.5. This is the 5th update that launched back in September. It's a little 2 months after 26.4, and yeah, there's nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even probably worth even talking about, other than the fact it's out, and the new subscriptions thing where developers are now going to be able to have 12-month subscriptions, and they can be paid monthly as opposed to the whole year. That's about it. And Marty, Eric, you have anything to add about that?
Some of the foveated stuff that's going to help with game tracking, I think. That they focused on in terms of under the hood type stuff. So where you look is where you get the most focus, and it learns where you look quicker now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. Nothing too exciting. I'm already, 26.5 is like old school. I'm already waiting for 26.6.
Yeah. Well, we're not a little less than a month away from WWDC, so who knows? We'll be at that point. But and then otherwise, one kind of cool thing I saw here. There's a new game coming out for Vision Pro. It's called Air Hockey Spatial Arena. It's you can pre-order it now, and it's just looking at this is from a Reddit post here it's been working on this app for a long time, but they finally have got it into the hands of some Vision Pro users. It's realistic and physics-based sim that actually makes you feel like you're playing in your room. So it should be coming out on June 1st. Pre-ordering, I believe, is today, and there's a link there in the App Store where you can do it. I think it was like $6.99, something like that. You guys see this? This looks kind of cool. I always loved playing air hockey.
I was a badass in the basement of the student union in college with air hockey, and there have been some attempts at these kind of games. I picked them up and played them, and the physics just did not work right on it. But that's not going to stop me from ordering this. Does this mean, then the other question is, do I get to play against a computer because I don't have any friends to play with, or does that mean you and I at some time can hook up online and share a game of air hockey? That would be cool.
Or we'll have it by Macstock time. We'll probably just do in person,
Yeah.
But
got to have beers and quarters.
Exactly. So we'll go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I just hope it has really good sound.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too.
I just want to hear the sound.
Click.
I prefer not having to play
I want to feel the
air.
feel the air blowing up through the little holes.
Yeah. So,
well, they have fans in the headset. They should redirect kind of. That'd be
truly
perfect.
That'd be truly a VR AR.
Needs to be fully immersive.
It has to be. It'll be very immersive. So as I mentioned, all the releases came out this week. We're now at 26.5 across all Apple OSs, including the big feature that has been talked about is it's in beta right now, but it's going. It's the end-to-end encryption with RCS in messages. They've added that, some new wallpaper updates, and then of course they say map updates, but of course it's ads because it warned you when you open maps for the first time, so be prepared, you're going to be seeing ads, just want to make sure and then so they've added that, and then a lot of other things, like a huge amount of bug fixes. I think they said something like in iOS like 50 bug fixes, so that alone would make me think you should be going out there and updating because just that alone, because it's all security bug fixes that had to be squashed. So everybody here install it? I know maybe Chuck didn't. I bet he waits, or did you do it, Chuck?
You mean the iOS version?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. That one I did.
Okay. You just don't.
Some of the
Mac, I know you hold back on that one.
Yeah, I hold back a little bit just because it seems like I'm always in the middle of a project, and I like to hit a kind of a logical stopping or break point, so that if I have to restart, I kind of know where to go back to instead of having to dive back in and redo things.
Yeah. So they did update all the rest of the OSs, including iPad OS. iPad OS, again, wallpapers, messages, upgrades. So there really wasn't, there wasn't a ton of updates, but again, the subscriptions is now part of these devices as well, as I mentioned with the Vision Pro. They do have automatic Bluetooth pairing to the Magic Mouse, Magic Keyboard, and Magic Trackpad after a USB connection. That's new for iPad. So if you plug your Magic Mouse or Magic Keyboard in or the Magic Trackpad, it will automatically find it. And so that's kind of cool. They finally did that because that never worked right if you wanted to use that with your iPad. And like I said, we're very close to WWDC, so this is going to not be too feature rich at this time. But for the most part, yeah, I've been running it for a while. I just had beta tested 26.5. We'll talk about Mac in a minute here, and Watch OS was also released, and then they have a lot. They did release the Pride Luminance watch face. We talked about that with the watch band I have here for the Pride band. So they did add that with the face, and so not much on the watch. tvOS also got some updates here, and not much here. Same thing, just fixes. And then I even got an article about HomePod OS. Well, HomePod, I guess, whatever you call it, because I have to make sure I do that just for Jeff. But
thank you.
Yeah. So, and again, you read that article right there we have, and it says performance and stability improvements. So,
I can verify that probably all they did was change the version number from 26.4 to 26.5 because everything that was a problem still is.
Yeah, exactly. And then here is like I said, there's more than about 50 different security flaws that was found with 26.5 that's updating it. There was image vulnerabilities, there was kernel issues, bugs related to shortcuts, spotlights, screenshots, 10 WebKit vulnerabilities that allowed you access to sensitive data that was causing crashing were fixed. So there was that in that, and as well, Apple did go ahead and upgrade older versions of iOS and iPadOS, going all the way back to 16.7.16 and 15.8.8, all the way up to 18. So there's like a major load of updates. So these were some pretty serious flaws in security that those of you sporting those really older devices, Apple's still supporting them. They're at least giving you security updates, they've done this a couple of times now. Are you guys surprised about that?
No, not really. I think Apple has always done until a device is declared obsolete, or they have another term for it too.
Yeah.
They pretty much provide updates all the way through the product cycle.
Yeah. So it's good to see that they are doing it. I'm happy to see that as well, because if there are people out there who just they're fine with their older devices, apps. That's another story. On some of those older devices may not be they're not be released anymore. But hey, if it works for you, that's great. We won't not say anything to you. You're supporting that already. So
quietly,
we quietly anyway. Yeah. So
yeah.
And a lot of the integrations with RCS conversations with Android is now encrypted as well. I did mention that previous when we were talking about that. So you have that as well when it comes to the encryption. So I'm glad to see that with these as well. So yeah, that's about it when it comes to iOS and iPadOS. Anything that anybody here noticed that it doesn't seem much different other than the bug fixes? I'm happy to say that we're squashed.
I actually had a problem with sound through CarPlay last night.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of fixed itself after I did a restart, but it's like I just updated, I think, whatever day it was it came out, and I found out about it. Was that yesterday, Wednesday?
It came out Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had updated it, and that was like the first major bug I've had in iOS in a long time.
Huh. Everybody else was good. Witherbucket said he installed it. It was about 13 gigabytes from the last version. But some was much slower. It was smaller. That's kind of unusual. I don't recall it being that. But okay, interesting to say the least. But he still said it went pretty fast, so that's good. But yeah, that's it on iOS, iPadOS. So we'll move on to the next version of beta. We'll see what happens. But let's move on to In Touch with Mac this week. They did release macOS Big Lake or Tahoe 26.5. It's the 5th major release, and just back from version 26.4. And same stuff. There really isn't much as far as updates go. This is the slow time of year with these updates, just basically bug fixes, because less than a month away, the dub. So that's where we're at with that. And the same thing they did with Mac OS is on the older versions as well. It did Sequoia, and it also had and 15.7.7 and 14.8.7 were released for both those versions. So they're patching those as well. So those aren't as old, but they're still functional. But one of the things I wanted to bring up for the fact is that Jeff, you wrote a blog article today because you were having some heck of a time with 26.5. Why don't you tell everybody about this? And this is on jeffgamet.com, so you got to go there and check it out.
Right. Okay. So installed 26.5. Rebooted, it did the reboot when it was done, and so when my Mac finished booting up, I noticed that my external keyboard, which connects via USB, my Mac wasn't talking to it at all, and I disconnected, reconnected, and I knew power was getting to the keyboard, but it just wouldn't work. And so in the process of troubleshooting, I realized, oh, wait a second. It's my keyboard, my Stream Deck, my Ozbot camera, my Ship Modi 3 DAC, and also a USB hub. And just none of those devices, individually or collectively, would work.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of troubleshooting, and what ended up fixing it was going into system settings, privacy and security, and then going to what is it? I'm doing this off the top of my head. Accessories. I have it listed in my little blog post, just exactly where you go. And so when you go into the settings there, you have an option for the level of security when USB devices are connected to your computer or anything that's physically connected with a wire.
Right.
And I know all these devices previously had been approved for my use because I had done that the first time I connected them.
Right.
And so I had the settings set to always, which means anytime a new device gets connected, I have to approve whether or not my Mac will actually talk to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to change that to allow any device connected after my Mac is unlocked.
Yeah.
So lower security for most people, probably not a big deal. But when I did that, all these devices that my Mac had previously worked with, but stopped once 26.5 was installed, immediately began working again.
Okay. It was you had it in you launch system settings, privacy and security, and you select accessories and it's wired accessories, and then you, like you said, you do it to automatically allow when unlocked. So the Mac has to be unlocked or for it to work, of course. So there's some security.
Yeah.
But again, another ridiculous bug, and then I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it. Probably I haven't. I probably is out there. I just haven't explored it any further. But that's why we have you on jeffgamet.com to check this out.
So that I can have the problems before you do.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's possible this is not a bug, and it's some really esoteric thing.
It's a feature
involving my specific setup. Or maybe there's some problem happened along the way, which could have also been a bug that corrupted a plist file somewhere. I don't know, but I'm inclined to think, with all the other issues that have been cropping up with macOS Big Lake, that this is a bug. It might be a bug that's hitting only a few people, but still a bug.
You need an exorcist.
I do.
Yeah,
Jeff, I haven't done the upgrade yet, but I have seen this behavior with devices that I frequently plug in, and I still have to grant them permission. Now, you just told me where to go, and I will be checking that out. But yeah, I'm glad you said it may be a feature, because part of me says I'm not exactly unhappy about that. That that somebody couldn't come along, stick something in my computer, and my computer just gives it free access. And I'm specifically thinking mainly of USB drives. So yeah, I can't quite understand at the moment why. No, wait a minute. Maybe it's because I'm plugging and unplugging, as opposed to waking from sleep, plugging in and waking from sleep. I don't know, but it just I've seen some of the behavior you're talking about.
Yeah, well, and this is behavior I have learned since I've been following up on what was going on, see if I could figure out more about what happened. Apparently, what I'm experiencing is something that's cropped up for people in the past, not like with a system update, but like their Mac would just refuse to talk to USB devices in specific until they went and just turned off the security for plugging in devices.
Yeah. So that was good that you found that out, and I'm glad you, as a service to everybody in the Mac community and the Apple community, that you provided this very good guide to fix this problem.
I've got your back.
I hope so. more stuff on Mac this week. Was a pretty good amount of Mac stuff this week. In Tahoe 26 for Enterprise, which I work in, they went through a lot of fixes with this, specifically with Mac computers were starting up with a black screen after a software update. I've seen that a couple times. Also, resolving an issue where the Mac computer restarts unexpectedly while mounting an SMB share, which is, if anybody doesn't know that, that's a network share through Windows, and resolving an issue with the Air M5 and the Pro M5 Pro Macs restarting unexpectedly. So there's been a number of bugs here. Why in Enterprise? I'm not sure. There's been some challenges with the single sign-on that the Enterprise uses. So I'm still working through that as well, so we have some challenges with it. But just a quick mention of some of the things that have been going on outside of the consumer world in the enterprise world here. Anybody's familiar with the app Notepad++? That was that's like BB Edit, I guess, but it was only for Windows because there was never a version of it available on the Mac. Well, this great guy here decides to port it over, and what does he do? He has it on GitHub, and what does he do? He calls it Notepad++. And I would think maybe the guy who developed Notepad++ might have objected to it. Well, he did. It was an unofficial Mac port of this, and then the original developer had called out for a trademark violation, and then dispute was resolved. They just basically rebranded it, so now it's called Next Plus or Note. It was Nextpad++ is now what it's called, and it thoroughly updates and clearly states this is open source, independent, and it has nothing to do with Notepad++. And it's even made it on Gruber with the Daring Fireball. So he was less than charmed by the result, describing the app as feeling unholy and suggesting that the rapid port could have been built with using AI vibe coding tools. So it's out there.
It actually was built using AI vibe coding tools.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, the guy, if you go through his whole site for the app,
okay,
he makes it clear that he used AI tools to make this happen because he did it all himself. There's no team,
right?
And it also happened incredibly fast.
Yeah, it seemed it.
So, yeah, so he confirmed on his site that he was using AI for this.
Have you tried this yet at all, Jeff?
Nope.
Yeah, it's more for programming.
I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, it's programming and doing a lot of coding and.
Yeah, I mean, I've considered downloading it to take a look at it, but at the same time, I'm not interested in it. I've been using BB Edit for years.
Yeah. I have it too. But another alternative, you can still basically use BB Edit. You don't necessarily have to pay for it. It's going to go. I don't know if does BB Edit. Can you use it without paying for it? Is it or does it have?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes, it. So if you remember from long ago, bare bones software had BB Edit and what was it called? Text Edit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what they ended up doing was eventually sunsetting Text Edit, and then just basically making a set of core features that are free in BB Edit, which is what Text Edit was. So you can download and use BB Edit for free, and it has the basic text editing functionality that you would expect. If you pay for BB Edit, in addition to supporting bare bones and some really great people, you get all the features.
Right. Which I support them, and I think all of us do.
Yeah.
Everybody else here, Chuck, do you use BB Edit?
Yes, I do for some things. I mean, that's the great thing about BB Edit. I think that you can use it the way you need it for what you need it. So if you're coding, you can use it that way. If you're manipulating text, you use it primarily for that. So yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Eric, it sounds like you were using it as well, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's So that's about it with that. And let's go in and talk a little bit about
Nice.
Bartender. I know we talked about this, but I think it's good to give a good refresher on this. If you remember Bartender Pro, which is a widgets, it manages your widgets and file storage, and it's a menu management app, and we've been using it for years. And the long story short is it had some security issues, and there was problems that people stopped using it for quite a while. Well, it got sold and bought, and they've added some really cool new features in it with Bartender Pro. It's called a top shelf feature, which it features to the Mac notch with access to multiple utility tools, which is kind of cool. And it expands the size of the notch so it can turn it into something like the iPhone's dynamic island. And you can drag files over to the notch, then store them and send them via AirDrop. So it's got some really cool things. It's got some widgets and it's got some great things. And I know, Jeff, you got to actually talk the developer actually reached out to you. They wanted you to review it, right?
Yeah, and I've been playing with it for a few weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah, some of the features that are in the Pro subscription part of this are still beta. I feel, and they're a little rough, but they work. And my experience has been that what they're doing on top shelf is something that Apple should have done, and I don't get why the notch on the Mac has just been left as this dead space.
Mm-hmm.
They're really not doing anything with it at all, meaning Apple. So it's cool to see someone doing something with that. And they are rolling in features that you have in other apps if you want, like clipboard management, being able to craft some of your own customized widgets, and like a file transfer management thing, stuff like that. Having it all in one place, in one utility, that makes it more convenient. And so Bartender 6 with Bartender Pro has been working well for me, and I've been jumping back and forth between Bartender Pro and Barbie, which is what I've been using exclusively for a little while now. And for the menu bar management parts, there's a lot of feature parity there. So if you're already familiar with Bartender and you jump into what they have now, it'll feel very familiar.
Yeah.
And if you had switched away to something else, and or if you just want to try it because you've been using like Barbie or Ice or something, getting into this, you'll find a lot of similarities in the interface. So it's easy and intuitive to get into. I've been pleased with Bartender 6 and the Bartender Pro subscription add-on part.
Yeah. And who else is using Bartender? Did you go back and try it like Jeff did? And I actually downloaded it 12 and reinstalled it. So I paid for like at least a monthly. I want to try it for at least a month to see how it does. Anybody else have tried it?
Yeah, I've got it installed, mostly to unclutter my menu, because I keep adding things, and it's nice to have it all drop below. And I'm using a machine that doesn't have a notch, so it's useful there.
The top shelf feature does work even if you don't have a notch.
And it's a neat feature.
Yeah,
absolutely. Anybody else? Have you tried it at all?
Yeah, I'm using it. Well, I loaded it and started to play around with customizing the menu panel because everything's on a black screen for me.
Yeah.
It just helps with contrast. And so I've been changing the shape and the colors of the menu panel. I, like Eric, am working on a machine that doesn't have a notch, and I'm interested in trying it out on a machine that has a notch. There's another app that I'm playing around with that does similar sorts of things. It's called DocDoor, and I just read something about a pro version of that coming out, which is really it's a little still kind of sketchy for me to try because it will reorder your whole dock system. And I'm not sure I want to do that yet. But DocDoor allows you to set up some pop-up options for different kinds of groupings of apps and things like that. So both of those, Jeff's discussion on this got me first back looking at Bartender.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been using Barbie, but not really using it. It was there and running. So it made me go back and go ahead and pay I don't know, what was it, $16 or something like that for a year.
Right, it was a year, right?
Of Bartender. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I'll play with that.
Chuck, are you one to use the menu management like Bartender, or are you not like to do that?
Yeah, I have. When Bartender went away before, or I made it go away, I tried some of the others and just never found one that really kind of gelled with me. So when I found out about the new Bartender and Jeff's advocation of it, I said, okay, I will give it a try again. I just haven't had a chance to do so yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the idea because I know that Apple gives you certain capabilities of turning things on and off in the menu bar, but that can be a little bit of a hassle. And, because you got to go in and figure out where in the preferences, either the system preferences or whatever that you can or cannot. So yeah, it will be, assuming Bartender works largely similar to the way it did before, it'll be a welcome return.
For you, Chuck, it will work nearly exactly the way you remember.
Then
for you'll see like places where the interface has been refreshed, but it's still, it's like just newer graphics.
Yeah. So I mean, thank you, Jeff, because that just moves it up on my list of things to do. And then I can look at the new features. But yeah, I wanted to solve that particular problem for me.
Yeah. So, but other things that happened with the Mac, I put a link in the show notes for that DocDoor to check that out. Chrome, I've just decided I am not using Chrome anymore, and I think most of us here have, because
finally,
yeah. I mean, I still have installed on this Mac at work. I stopped using it completely. I'm tired of it. I'm using Safari in Safari to get into my Apple accounts. I have to use Safari because it requires Touch ID to authenticate for enterprise. So got to do that. Don't have a choice. So it forcing me to get back into Safari, but I've always been a big Firefox guy. I've really liked it, and I've been using Edge. I mean, between those three, that's kind of been where I've been. But stop Chrome browser from downloading a hidden 4 gig AI file. If your Mac storage has been mysteriously shrinking recently using Google Chrome, this may be they've identified and found the culprit. The browser has been downloading a 4 gigabyte AI file onto computers without explicit user consent. And then it goes through the steps of how you can reclaim that space. It's the file in question is called weights.bin, which powers Google's on-device Google Nano AI model. Like, you want that without a choice anyway. And this is the engine behind Chrome's features like the scam detection, autofill suggestions, and help me write tool. Local models tend to be pretty big storage-wise, and no one is different. So the problem is that it's clearly a sign posted that the fact that it's eating 4 gigs of storage here. So the article goes through and talks about some of the stuff here. I think my consensus is the fact that we stopped using Chrome, right?
Yeah.
And Jeff, you just
nope.
Oh, you still use it?
I'm in a university environment where I'm kind of stuck there.
Okay.
Yep.
Chuck, have you stopped? Do you use Chrome?
I use Chrome. I use it for one very specific purpose, and that's it. So this really doesn't affect me for that purpose, other than the fact that now I have an AI sitting on my machine that I really didn't look for.
Okay, good.
And I think look, if this sounds like I'm being paranoid, maybe it's because I am. I find it interesting that they say that this particular AI is there to prevent you from getting, some of the bad stuff and from picking out scams and all. So it's an interesting thing. You send this to me, you tell me it's good for me, and yet you are Google.
Well, Chuck, Google is yes, they're on very flimsy ground with trust, and it doesn't help that they've installed this 4 gig AI model without your consent, and then say, yeah, but now that you know about it, we'll let you know it's for your own good.
Yeah.
Okay, well then why isn't it actually being used?
Yeah.
Every AI related thing that it potentially could be handling is still sent out to Google servers. It's not being done locally.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you believe their good word, I have a YouTube album you might be interested in.
Yeah, it's too bad. It still baffles me that these companies and certain ones that we've talked about here ad nauseum still continue to do this stuff. I mean, I don't think that they have to be transparent about every single, little bit that they change, but for something like this, and recognize their own reputation and the reputation they have, you'd think they would do something to try to combat it.
Right.
But instead they do this. And I don't know, it seems like they just continue to court the reputation.
Yep. Well, the good thing is that there's plenty of choices of browsers out there. And Jeff, I like the fact you just brought this one and you tell people about this. Have you been using this? It's a browser called Helium. I didn't know about this.
Oh, well, then I'm really glad I told you about it.
Yeah.
Helium is my default browser and has been for a few months now. So a few years ago, I was in a situation where for the tools that I needed for what I was doing, I had to have a Chromium-based browser because there's like specific plugins that I needed to use that were available only for Chrome. And so that sent me down the rabbit hole of finding an alternative to using Chrome itself because for all the reasons. And I ended up settling on Edge, which was fine.
Yeah.
And
I use it.
Trading one monopoly for another.
Yes, but at least at the time, Microsoft was trying to be very transparent about what Edge collects and what it doesn't. And they're like, hey, all this background stuff that Google's doing, we don't have that in our Chromium-based browser. But still, it was very bloated, and there were enough problems, and it turns out that eventually they did start collecting data that I would prefer they hadn't been collecting.
Yeah.
So I was back on the hunt, and I tried a few different things, and the key thing was it needs to work with the plugins that ultimately became critical to what I still do today. And I found Helium, and it turns out that this is a Chromium-based browser where they went in and just hacked out everything that's built into the code for tracking you. And then they added in stuff to help anonymize you, to block ads and block the other tracking mechanisms. And that's just there and running by default. And it's turned out to be a really good, really solid, stable web browser for me that supports every single plugin I need to use. And the biggest one is Workona. And Workona is fantastic, but it doesn't work reliably with every Chromium-capable browser. And works great with Helium.
All right. We'll have to check that out. There's so many browsers out there now. I mean, I'm looking at my machine I haven't touched in a while, like DuckDuckGo has one. There was Arc, which I know is kind of lost a little bit of momentum. There was Dia was another one. I know ChatGPT has ChatGPT Atlas. I mean, there's just so many different browsers now. The big three, or the big four, are they really big anymore? There's just so many other alternatives, which is nice that you can use. So, anybody else have anything on browsers and agree with Jeff that this is maybe a good alternative?
Yeah, if as long as it does everything that Chrome does, minus the looking over your shoulder and snatching everything.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything that I can't do in Helium. And that even includes really finicky webinar web-based interfaces where they're like, the only thing we support is Google Chrome, period. And
I hate that.
and you can try other Chromium-based browsers, and it gets really janky. Helium is working fine for everything.
Does it connect with Google Drive in the way Chrome connects with Google Drive? Do you know?
If you install the plugins,
okay,
then yeah, and okay, take what I just said with a grain of salt. It may do it without the plugins, but I ended up just throwing plugins in and running with it. And so now I'm not sure, but yeah, so maybe it does work without the plugins, but definitely with them it does.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, good information. Well, we got a link in the show notes for Helium. I'm going to try to check it out myself. So we'll see.
It's in beta though.
It is beta.
It's beta.
Yeah, but it's one of those betas where
everything works.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, it's beta in spirit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And you knew we had to go at least one other week, not to talk about the MacBook Neo, but this was good news that the MacBook Neo delivery dates are improving. Now they've got some new A18 Pro chip orders. Apple's MacBook Neo shipping delays have started to improve after the weeks of frustrations and wait times like we've talked about. Changes just as it reports that they've increased A18 Pro chip orders to keep up with the demand of the $599 laptop. And the inventory's been tight for a bit now, so it all slipped to like towards the end of this month as we record here in May. But they've got more orders and shipping. It looks like shipping dates are moving forward. So, and there's been some instances of places that still and will still have them in stock. Like Amazon and other places that have stock of it already. So, it's looking good. One good thing I'll mention the Mac Mini. I had to order a couple. I had a couple for work, and they actually shipped and they received it. I was like, cool. I mean, I couldn't believe it. We ordered because I placed the order. I think but the thing is, the order was placed like in early April, and then it just arrived like yesterday. So,
wow.
So it took over a month for sure. But hey, they found them somewhere, so that's good. And then we were able to fulfill what was needed. So that Mac Mini, whole other story with that, but it's good to hear that the MacBook Neo is finally improving. You got any thoughts on this, Marty?
How were they going to solve this problem? Boy, how were they going to solve this problem? I said they had a big wad of cash at Apple, and they're just going to make more A18 chips. And people said, no. They're not going to do that. They'd never do that. Well, they did that. The other thing, too, with that they announced, and this was even before the A18 stuff, but I think it was part of the call, the
earnings
quarter call, where they said, hey, you're going to have to expect some of our shipments to kind of ebb and flow, that it's not going to be constantly you're going to get it 5 days from when you order it, that there's going to be these periods of time where you will get it 5 days from when they ordered it, but there'll also be periods of time based on our production schedule and the limit of the chips and the components that we have where it'll be a month out and then it'll come back and then it might be a month out again. So yeah, expectations, I think, is what made the story, people's expectations,
right,
that it should be happening right away. And so, yeah.
Anybody else want to add anything to this?
It's unclear to me if the decision to make new chips has actually had an effect yet, because I would think it would have taken longer for the new chip production to actually kick in.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't surprise me if things are a little bit back and forth through September
Mhm.
to give them
I
time
have
to
a
actually do
hypothesis.
production.
Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so Eric, here's my hypothesis, and it's that before the Neo ever shipped, they already had a contingency plan in place if sales exceeded what they expected, and so they were able to very quickly trigger that contingency plan and get new chips in production before we were even seeing the bigger problems that we've been talking about. And so by the time they did their earnings report and said, well, we're looking at what we can do,
It was already done.
those chips were already in production.
Hmm.
Anyhow, just my hypothesis.
Yeah, Apple didn't publicly say that, but I kind of agree with you on that because they had to know this was going to potentially be even though they said it wasn't, they didn't anticipate it. I think that was more for public consumption. Oh yeah, no, we didn't anticipate this overwhelming demand. I mean, they had to expect it at that price point.
Well, I have a feeling they were at least partially honest with that.
Yeah.
Like they figured it would be popular, but they weren't ready for it to be as popular and sell as fast as it did. But they already had their contingency plan ready to go, and so they kicked that in right away and got chips in production and shipping.
Yep.
And plus, I mean, remember that they want to have a pretty good stock around for
Christmas.
Everyone buying them for, well, not even Christmas, but for the start of the next school year.
Mm-hmm.
Apple has contingency plans for their contingency plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Jeff. I think that they were prepared for it to be very popular. I think what they ended up with was, much more than they expected. What a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was also nice that everyone they partnered with got inventory, and they seemed to give that priority.
Mhm.
There been times in the past where nobody could get anything except Apple, and just made everybody mad. But by making sure that Walmart had it and Best Buy had it and Costco had it, you might not be able to get something from the Apple Store, but you had a bunch of other choices where by the end of the week you could get a machine, maybe not with a student discount, but you could still get one,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was a good move.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So let's move on. I got another topic here. I found this interesting. The fact that an unexpected U.S. carrier joint venture happened where it fires up expansion of iPhone cell coverage. Unlikely partners AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon have announced a joint venture that will help iPhone users get a signal even in previous cellular dead spots. Working together for once, the companies have announced an agreement in principle to use satellite-based technologies to help reduce their gaps in coverage. They expect those in unserved and underserved areas or communities will benefit the most. Once up and running, the new venture will show and help people maintain a connection even in areas where it's normally had limited service. So it also helps that the days of remote areas and having no cell service will be a thing of the past. So in the press release, it was from AT&T actually. It says it's going to be direct-to-device technology. The joint venture will use satellite-based direct-to-device D2D technologies. T-Mobile was the first to launch the D2D tech for both text and data, but the company also, while AT&T announced similar functionality in 2024. Apple has long given iPhone owners the ability to use satellite communications, of course, SOS, in emergencies. However, it was limited to short text messages and to emergency services. In this case, the new venture is going to have existing ground-based networks that are unavailable due to extreme natural disasters and unusual disruptions. So this is a good thing to hear here. I mean, that's always been a challenge. We always, all of us have said that, oh my God, it's a dead spot here. We're not getting good coverage and it's horrible and all this stuff. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, first, this benefits the companies because then their customers have potentially better service all the way around. I think, though, that if we were to peel back the layers about this amazingly altruistic move that they're all making, we will find that that there's another motivation. And speculation on my part, but the speculation is that they decided it's in their best interest to come up with a joint solution like this now, as opposed to having to react to a government mandated situation where it may not work in the best interests of the companies. And considering there's a lot of volatility and uncertainty in the current administration, you don't know what the expectations would be or how quickly they would change once they've been imposed. So do it now, do it the way you can with your control, and then head off the problem before it actually happens.
Yep. Chuck, any thoughts on this?
I love what Jeff said. I'd love to believe that forward thinking. And given that there's a bit of self-interest in that scenario, maybe they are. At the end of the day, it's something that should have been done a long time ago.
Yes.
And maybe that's it. Maybe they figured out that we should have done it a long time ago, and it's a matter of time before somebody forces us to do it on their terms. Better that we figure it out on ours.
Yeah. Anybody else with any thoughts on this? Nothing? All right. So
if it does something to improve the coverage in my house, because I live in what I like to call the Holler of Kent, which is a depressed area that we have ducks every spring that fly into my backyard because it becomes a lake. And so signal is pretty rough in my house, and I have a steel beam that runs through the whole thing that makes it even worse. So AT&T has been the service that I've used, and the coverage has been but sometimes it means walking to a window to get a clear signal on my phone, and it's gotten better. I hope this kind of thing helps primarily rural and underserved areas, but if it does anything for the Holler of Kent, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And as many know, this was released this past week that the Steve Jobs U.S. commemorative dollar coin is gone on sale, and guess what? It sold out in 11 minutes. You could have purchased it from the U.S. Mint website, but it does have a dollar Steve Jobs coin that features a young Steve Jobs in a turtleneck, jeans, and sneakers sitting in front of the Northern California landscape. Jobs is said to be capturing in the moment of reflection in which his posture and expressive reflect on how the environment is inspired by his vision to transform complex technologies into something as intuitive as organic as nature itself. So, and this was in partnership with the Steve Jobs Archive, with the champion the design, and then with support with the California Governor Gavin Newsom. So it is a cool a coin. You could buy a roll of 25 for $61, which so they're going to, and you knew the Mint was going to mark it up because people were going to demand it, and then and then a bag of 100, which be coins, and it's both mints, the Philadelphia and Denver Mint, and it was launched. Actually, this innovation coin program actually started in 2018, so it was doing all the states. And I used to get into the quarters. Remember the quarters that you did have all the different ones every year.
Yeah.
And I was a big coin collector. I've kind of, that's been a passing fad for me, but it's still a huge thing in collections. But it's cool. All right, I'll admit it. I gave in and bought some on eBay.
What a surprise!
I know you guys like that, so that's why I said it. But I didn't spend too much on it. So I'm happy with that. So who knows when it'll show up? It'll be here. But yeah, I think we're all Apple fans, and maybe I'll give you guys one or two when I see you if you don't get one. So,
So, Dave, do you want me to swing by the Mint? Because it's not that far from me.
I know it isn't.
And knock on the door and ask where your coins are.
Yeah, exactly. It's not coming from them. It's coming from an eBay seller.
If the Mint thought like Apple, they're just kind of telling us that they've run out of Steve Jobs coins. And that they probably, even before they released the Steve Jobs coins, went ahead and ordered up some more Steve Jobs coins. So they're using the MacBook Neo approach to releasing these coins.
That's smart.
NC plan.
Yeah, that is smart. So anybody else have any thoughts on this?
I predict a sequel to the coin where Jobs will be introducing the iPhone. That'll be the image, the older Jobs. Introducing the iPhone.
I would love that.
Yeah, and
I assumed
the Steve Ballmer in a sweaty shirt rushing across.
Developers.
And they'll be able to sell those coins for a dime a piece.
Yeah, I assumed that the WAS coin would be coming out, but what they do is put like 10 in a sheet, and you have to punch the metal coins out. Okay, so that's a deep cut joke for a lot of people, because Steve used to carry stacks of $2 bills that hadn't been cut yet. And so he'd tear a $2 bill off the stack and hand it to someone, and they thought it was counterfeit money.
All right, Jeff, tell everybody what you think the coin looks like. I see that comment in our Zoom private chat.
Okay, let me preface this with I love watching The Muppet Show.
Yeah,
the old TV series.
Yes,
and based on an episode that I just recently watched, I look at this coin and I'm like, that's not Steve Jobs. That's Helen Reddy.
There it is, right there.
And if you look, really look, now you can't unsee it. And I'd apologize, but I'm a horrible, horrible person.
No, you're not. No, you're not. All right, let's get into some news this week. There's been lots of reports about this, that Intel is testing production of some iPhone, iPad, and Mac chips. TSMC has been the exclusive supplier of Apple systems on a chip since 2016, but that 10-year streak could be nearing its end. Of course, I'm depending on Ming-Chi Kuo here on this information, but it seems pretty viable as I'm seeing it everywhere, not just by him. The Intel has kicked off a small-scale testing of the lower-end iPhone, iPad, and Mac chip fabrication, with production expected to ramp up throughout 2027, 2028. And doesn't know which A series would it be or which M series it would be, but Apple will be utilizing Intel's 18A process for these chips. It's then evaluating Intel's other advanced node technologies. I think this is smart by Apple in the case, but there's no indication where this is going to be and what's going to happen. As we know, the big thing was when Apple got away from the Intel chips. Well, that's the platform. If they're able to actually make the chips and stay within the design of what Apple has with silicon and A-series processors, I'm all for this. I mean,
it matters.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter at all. And you got on a company, and then the big push of making things in the United States and America. Intel's got has plants in the United States, and they would be making there. So there's another win for made in America. So what's everybody's thoughts on this? What do you think on this, Chuck?
I like it. I mean, I think it's interesting. I think I believe one of the articles I saw referred to Apple and Intel as frenemies. And I'm not sure there's ever been an enemy part of it. It's just that Apple went in another direction.
Right.
And because Intel couldn't deliver. And so, is this Apple reaching out to try to help another American company? Is it Apple reaching out to help Apple? Is it Apple fulfilling, to your point, domestic production requests by the administration?
Yeah.
Could be yes to all above. But at the end of the day, like I said, a chip is a chip. As long as it performs to the specifications, who cares who makes it? As long as they can deliver it in quantity and reliably.
Yeah.
And hey, Webb's in the chat. How you doing, Webb? He says it's supply and
Webb.
It's supply and demand. Yeah, I would agree with that statement. Jeff, what is your concern about Intel?
All right. So first, hey, Webb and supply and demand, absolutely, and having resilient parts pipelines versus brittle, very important. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with here. Intel's A18 process is new, and Intel does not have a solid track record with making chips that use technology at this size. So you're comparing the A18 to what TSMC is doing with their N2, and N2 is proven, and Apple can get the yields out of the wafers that they expect. There's no track record yet to show that Intel's 18A process can give the yields. And in fact, industry sources have been saying, yeah, actually yield on 18A is pretty crappy. So can Intel address these issues and produce chips that Apple needs in the quantities that they would need? Today, I'd say, I don't know, but they can prove me wrong, and I would love that. Okay, so now here's the part where I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. There's a difference in the way that I'm totally nerding out here. There's a difference in the way that N2 versus the 18A process works, and without going like way deep into the chip nerd realm. The 18A has the potential to actually be a more efficient chip than the N2. And so assuming that Apple updates the operating system to take advantage of that part of the 18A chip design process, then you could have a version of of whatever chip Apple wants that's potentially more efficient than the same chip that they're getting from TSMC.
Okay.
But the problem with that also could be you wouldn't be able to mix chips from
TSMC.
Thank you. And Intel in the same product line, because the performances could be different. So whatever chips that Intel would make would have to be dedicated to every single device that was made within that product line. So all of the Neos, or all of the MacBook Airs, or all of the Mac Minis, or wherever it is that these chips were going to go. And the TSMC chips would have to pretty much do the same. But that's what they've been doing anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, there are definitely technical and logistic issues that Apple will have to work through, and of course they will. So anyhow, I hope that these reports that Intel's doing some test runs are accurate, and that the yields that they get on the chips is high enough to meet Apple's needs.
Yep. Anybody else? All right, a couple more news stories before we wrap up here. Ted Lasso, as we talked about, is got season 4 coming out here pretty soon, and I believe it's in August. But this was interesting. This has been all over the news this week. The Ted Lasso actor that played Danny Rojas is now a professional soccer player. The Apple TV's hit series inspired viewers to believe, and it seems like the message resonated strongly with the show's actors too. Danny Rojas actor Cristo Fernandez has just signed on a contract to become a professional soccer player. He is going to be. Of course, he was all known as Football is Life, and it was he's playing for the El Paso Locomotive FC, which was announced today as a extensive 2-month trial with the team, where Fernandez will become a regular presence and in training, as he's appeared in a preseason match against New Mexico United. Well, if anything, what this is going to do is, because of all the interest with Ted Lasso, this could get some people going to watch him and hope that he does. So anybody have any thoughts?
What league is that? Is that MLS?
It's a United States soccer league, I believe it is. So it's not the MLS, MSL.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not.
I guess this.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Go ahead.
I guess this means there's not going to be a season 5 Ted Lasso.
Well, they did shift to the women's soccer this year, this upcoming season. Yeah. So, but no, I found this to be cool. I really like. He was great on that show. And
they, whatever. I mean, they've pretty much, I'm sure at this point, filmed everything for season 4 already.
It's been in the can for a while.
So if he has any parts that is going to be in this show, and I don't know how much they're going to bring back, other than the main characters. I don't know how much they're going to bring some of the other actors back. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure his parts, if any, have already been filmed.
I don't know.
And for
go ahead.
For what it's worth, and keep in mind, I know less than nothing about soccer/football. That said, he was one of the few characters that actually I bought as a potential soccer player. I mean, if I really thought about it, he just seemed to have that vibe about him. Mm-hmm. And, he and maybe Roy Kent, but, everybody else was like, okay, yeah, they could be maybe fine. They're actors and I'm buying it. But he really seemed, maybe it was just a character and he's that good an actor. But I really felt like when I saw this, I was happy for him and I wasn't exactly surprised for some reason.
You see, now I got to watch the 3 seasons again. Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And
not again.
Again. Yeah. My wife will be happy.
And Web says that some of Ted Lasso was actually filmed in Kansas City. Well, that because Jason Sudeikis was from there, so that's probably a good reason. So, but all right. Anybody else?
I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, I do too.
To be on a show and then move up, and everybody gets better, and then all of a sudden it's real life.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen a lot.
Nope.
No, last one I can think of is William Shatner. He played a spaceman and then he went into orbit.
No, he didn't go into orbit.
No, you're right. He didn't.
And it was just the edge of Final Frontier.
Soccer,
but, that still counts.
Good comparison here.
and we are so jealous we can't stand it. Yes. Every single one of us.
Yeah.
I would probably feel much better going up in a SpaceX than I would do orbit, however.
All right.
Slightly better track record.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up. Before we wrap up, though, I want to find out where everybody could be found. Thank you all for being here and being here with us this week. Let's start with Chuck Joyner. Thank you for being here, Chuck. Where can people find you?
Hey, Dave, thank you very much for having me. MacVoices.com is where you find everything. And right now there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We have Take Control authors. We have NAB interviews. We have the Road to Mac Stock. And there's just a whole lot of stuff coming at you. And even maybe, here's a little teaser, maybe even something from CES. Yeah. Ooh. The live show is Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. And on the socials, you can find me as @Chuck Joyner. Thanks again.
Thank you. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. And where can people find you?
Well, first, thanks for giving my blog, jeffgamet.com, a shout out.
Yes.
And so I'll just throw in another one. I also revived freshbrewtales.com.
All right.
So you can see the weird stuff that I see happening at coffee shops over there. All right. So for social media, jgamet, pretty much everywhere, active mostly on Mastodon, PixelFed, and BlueSky right now. Then for shows, Tuesdays on Chuck's Mac Voices Live, here with you on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays. Then on the British Tech Network, The Big Show and The Mac Show. Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
All right. Thank you. And Eric Bolden, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not outside swatting mosquitoes coming out of that Death Star, I can be found on Mastodon at EA Bolden at mes.to. Sunday nights on the Neo Notebook, Mondays on Vision Profiles, Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, and Thursdays on In Touch with iOS.
All right. Thank you, Eric. And good guy, Serle, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me nearly every single week over on the G-Men show. Actually, you were on it last. We recorded Sunday, I believe. But it just came out, and so everybody should go over and listen to Dave and I having various talks and discussions.
Yes.
You can reach me over on the socials. I am pretty much Mac Parrot and Vert Shark everywhere, though I'm mostly active on diametrically opposed social media sites, which is Twaxter and Skies of Blue, though I have also been kind of hanging on Threads as well.
Cool. All right.
Oh, Vert also on the Tubes of You.
All right. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Marty Jencius, thank you for being here, as always. And we missed you last week. Glad you're back here. And where can we find you?
You can find me at Jencius, Jencius, on most of the socials. Sunday night with the Neo Notebook with Eric and Dave, and also Brett Kennedy, who joins us for that show. Monday nights on Vision Profiles, again with Dave and Eric and Daniel occasionally. Tuesdays with Chuck on Mac Voices Live, and Thursdays here with this fun gang on In Touch with iOS. And then Friday mornings with the Mac Show, which is a lot of fun on the British Tech Network. So
yes, indeed. See
a lot of you tomorrow.
Yes, you will. And thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and wrap up. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on BlueSky, Mastodon at In Touch with iOS. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We do really appreciate it. Become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. Where you can go to 2 tiers that we offer for the show, and we would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we're live streaming, which is Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. It was great to see Webb, and it was great to see Cletus, and Brian popped in, and Weather Bucket, of course, can't forget him. Thanks for being here, and you can join us live during the recording of the show, so please come join us. You can find us on your favorite podcatcher, including podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and many others, but better yet, just go to our website. It's intouchwithios.com. All the ways to listen to us, they're out there. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me at the following places: Neo Notebook on Sundays with Marty and Eric, Mondays on Vision Profiles with Marty and Eric, Tuesday nights at Mac Voices Live, and Thursdays we record here, and Fridays Mac Show on the British Tech Network, and occasionally on the G-Men show as well. And with
well said.
Yeah. So thanks for being here, everybody, and we appreciate you watching, listening, and believe me, we appreciate you. So until then, Thanks for listening and watching.